Hi guys, Aslam Khan here to teach you business environment today. Thank you for watching chapter number 1, and that's the reason you guys are here today to see chapter number 2, business environment. Before we move on to the content, I request you one thing. Please do not forget to hit the bell button, and that will give you updates about the new videos which we are going to update. And the second thing is, please do not forget to comment of how this video and what are things you need to learn more, and how is my teaching technique, are you understanding it or not. And the third thing, a small request, most probably, please subscribe our channel in order to learn more as possible. And we'll move on to the content. Let's start business environment today. I'm going to teach you each and everything depth as much as possible. Before we move on to the topic, I want to discuss certain things. We say as SWOT analysis. Now, this is business environment, right? So, we're going to learn these terms today: business environment and business activities, technological and economic environment, technological environment, economic environment, global environment, business activities, importance of studying business environment. So, we'll move on to what is business environment first of all. Okay. So this is here. I hope you can have a look on this very clearly. A business environment is a type of environment which can be internal to the business or external to the business. If you are running a business, we can say business as firms or business as enterprise. But this, if you are running a business, you need to know which is what is happening inside your company or what is happening outside the company. You need to understand both these scenarios in order to make your business successful. To learn that business, we need to know about to learn how to run a business. We need to know what is business environment and how the business activities are carried in a business environment. So you need to know the different changes. We say different changes or changes we say as dynamic. These different changes you need to be able to understand when it comes to business environment. So before we move on to this content, now this is what they have given here, what I have spoken already, they have explained here in a bit more. So let's move on to the let's move on to whiteboard. This is my whiteboard. I hope you can see my whiteboard. I'm gonna give you a small thing. I'm gonna teach you some analysis called SWOT analysis. This is what I'm gonna teach you before we move on. The SWOT: strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. What is strength? Strength is something the business should have internally. Weakness: what is the problem which the business firms go through internally. O is an opportunity. Opportunity, what are the opportunities they go through externally, and threats, what are the problems they go through externally. So you remember in SWOT analysis, S and W, which is strength and weakness, is a part of internal environment. O and T is a part of external environment. This is a reminder for you. Know these terms very clearly. It can be tested in MCQs. It can be even tested in, and it also can be tested in paper 2. So let's move on to the PDF file. Now you guys can see this very clearly. We have spoken about what's business environment. So let's move on to the next content of this part. I have given you a clear introduction about what is business environment and what is internal environment and what is external environment. Knowing this is very important to score better marks on your exams. Classification of business environment is divided into two: internal environment, external environment. There are different parties and forces present in both internal and external environment. This chapter discusses only the following parties and forces. So business environment has few things. We can say this owners, managers, employees. So we can also, you can remember internal environment as me, whatever you guys can say. Remember this as the easiest term to remember. So if you, I taught you on the last lesson also, creating mnemonics will score you better marks on exam. So try to create mnemonics. So mnemonics are the short terms to remember certain terms. Here, if you see like if you see C, S, C, P, L, T, E, G, you make your own way of saying this term. So CSC means, if you remember CSC, then of course it's an external environment. Or like if you have EGTL or something like that, you can say PLT, ELEG, plague T, something like that. So you need to remember some mnemonics to learn this. So internal environment, business classification, when it comes to environment classification, there are two terms: internal environment, external environment. Internal environment has owners, managers, employees. External environment has customers, suppliers, competitors, political environment, legal environment, technological environment, economic environment, and global environment. Let's look onto this one by one now. Yeah. Let's move on to the next part. What is this internal environment? Different parties and forces acting within a business and affecting a business are known as internal environment. The parties within the internal environment and the impact of business is depicted below. So if they ask what is internal environment, you need to remember that internal environment means it is inside the business and the business can control certain decisions. So whatever the parties who are going to affect the business or getting affected by the business, they are in the control of the business. That's what we say internal environment. So internal environment has owners. Who are these owners? Owners are the individuals supplying the required capital for a business, the financial strength. Business knowledge and experience will lead to success of a business. So owners are the business owners, like they have invested certain money in the business and they expect a return on investment. They consider themselves as a strength of the business and they will do the business properly. So they are in the control of the business itself. So then of course owners becomes a part of internal environment. Managers are the people who are working in a company which is owned by the owner. So these managers are just an employee. They just work under owner, but they are not employee exactly. Employees means they are lower than the managing position because owners see managers see employees. So they supervise each other. Owners get the work done from managers get the work done from employees. So the hierarchy goes from owner, manager, employee. If you take a big company, it doesn't go with owner, it starts with shareholders, then you have directors, then you have managers, then you have employees. So the hierarchical structure might be different when it comes to a big company and a small company. It differs. Most of the small companies, it will always have owners, managers, and employees. So managers are the people who are taking the decision in a company. They are the people who are given objectives, and their target is to achieve this objective. They are responsible to build a good relationship between the customers and the employees of a business. So they are the people who are building and connecting the business and the customers. They are the people who are connecting the employees and the business again. So they have a good connection between these two people. If they don't do their job properly, then of course it will bring a loss to the business. Then we move on to the next thing. Sometimes owners also will be managers, but we can't. Most of the time, managers are managers. They are just working on owners, but sometimes owners and managers, both of them can be same. Employees are like people who are working under certain salary, so they get paid for the work what they do. Why they are being recruited to the company? Recruited means hiring them. The reason they have been hired because they get paid. The company pays them a salary, and the company needs from these employees one thing. That's what we say skills and knowledge. So if they have skills and knowledge, they can earn a good package as well. So let's move on to employees content. Employees are individuals who duly perform the task assigned using their own skill and competencies. They are dedicated and good attitudes. Also matter for a business to be successful. So this internal environment they can consider in two terms. They can give strength and weakness. Now, example, if I give what is the strength of a business, if they ask due to strength of a business, you can write employees have high skill, or you can say employee has good knowledge on what they're doing, good experience is a good skill. Managers, what is the weakness? If they ask write two items of managers' weaknesses, so you need to be able to say managers bad decision making, or you can say poor resource allocation. So you are not allocating the resource properly. Poor budgeting. So these all are part of managers' problem. So you need to know these certain terms and certain terms to understand and to write it down in paper when they ask. Don't get confused. Just do what you feel. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. External environment. It is not in the control of the business. It is outside the scope of the business because we can't control them. But what we can do is we can try to satisfy them. We can try to keep the change what is happening on the market. External environment are different parties and forces acting outside the business and affecting to a business are known as external environment. The impact of these external environment factors to a business is depicted below. So they are given below. Number one, customers. Customers are the king of a business. Philip Kotler has said, the guy who is the marketing guru, has said a term, customers are king. So if you can satisfy customers, you're almost done with the business. If you don't satisfy the customer, then of course you are going to run out of the market. Customers buy goods and services of a business. The survival of a business depends on its customers. Therefore, business are required to identify different needs and wants of customers and satisfy them appropriately. The changes in buying patterns of customers will have a close impact over the activities of a business. So every business need to know their customers better. If they don't understand what the customer needs, then of course they can't keep the business. The business should move on. If you take Canon company, it started years back, but what's the reason Canon? Not Canon, yeah, Kodak company, not Canon. It's Kodak companies. Kodak company cannot meet the needs of the market. What is Kodak company? Now you might think, what is Kodak? So Kodak is a company. Years back, when you want to take a picture, you go with your family and you take a picture with your family. These family pictures are most of the time made by Kodak studios. They take pictures and they give you a print. But today the technology has changed. The phone has taken the whole thing of these of this generation, because the phone has replaced the whole industry. So Kodak didn't change with the need of the people. So Kodak remained the same by taking pictures. But what happened? People, businessmen changed their way of seeing customers, and they made selfie cameras, they made good megapixel cameras on each phone. So they acquired the market, and the Kodak almost lost the market. So knowing about customers is very important. Changing towards the customers' needs are also very important to survive on the market. Now let's move on to next point. So customers, making them happy is the main task. If you can keep customers happy, they will again and again come to the business. They will increase the sale of the business. You don't satisfy them, you can't do business in the market. So keeping the customers is the main root cause towards survival of the business. So it might change with the technology. Today you might see due to pandemic, the classes, the way we are lecturing, everything has changed. It was traditional. Today we are on technology. The reason, you need to satisfy customer wherever you are. The more they are satisfied, the more they are going to come to you. So then we have competitors, other firms producing goods or services which are similar to the goods or services of another business. The way competitors conduct their business activities, price and quality of competitors' products, marketing techniques, etc., would closely influence on business. So competitors are the people who are doing the same thing what you are doing. They are going to sell the same product what you are going to sell, but they are going to affect the market in a different way. They are going to affect the market maybe in a price range. They are going to sell a different product which you can't produce. So this will always, you need to know, when you are competing on the market, you need to know what is a competitor doing on the market. Is he going to sell a product what you are going to produce, or is he going to sell a product better than you? So if you know your competitor, then of course you can survive on the market. Again, surviving is the main essential thing on the market. Surviving means you need to carry on your business activity smoothly. So you generate loss or revenue, you need to move on in your future. That's what knowing about competitors will ensure that you bring a new better product than them, so to survive on the market. So let's move on to the third content of this part. We have suppliers. Okay, suppliers. Why suppliers are important? Because these people are the people who give us resources when we need, when we need to produce something. Like example, you take, we are a chocolate company, a chocolate manufacturing company. So we need some chocolates to produce chocolate. So if we need some chocolate to produce chocolates, what would happen if we don't? If we most of the time, if to produce chocolate, you need cocoa. So right, if you want cocoa from cocoa suppliers, you need to pay them on time. You don't pay them on time, they will not give their resource on time. So this will reduce the level of they, or reduce the speed of you are producing the chocolate. So you need to keep them happy suppliers, because you pay them on time, you get the services directly, and they will not move on to your competitors, because if your suppliers are not happy, your production process will stop. So you will not get more resources from them. So keeping them happy is one of the essential things of a business. Let's move on to the fourth thing of external environment. We say it as political environment. In a country, the policies of a government will have an influence on the businesses. The businessmen have to conduct their business by considering these policies. The following are some examples for government policies. So, what is political environment? If government influence a business, we say it as political environment. A government can influence a business through taxes. A government can influence a business through regulation. A government can put some sort of policies. Now, they are given two type of policies. One, they have said infrastructure development policy or fiscal policy. Now, what is this infrastructure? Many students who doesn't score on exam, reason they are not understanding the term. So I'll remind you the term. Infrastructure is something like you develop the economy in a different way, producing roads. Making roads and producing, capital goods, and ensuring that people are getting a lot of resources as much as possible. Like if you say fair income distribution, dividing the income properly, or taking the access from the people, giving back to the people, giving back to the poor, taking the money from the rich and giving to the poor. These all can be done by a government. So a government imposes taxes, they put certain policies, they take some money from the rich people, they give to the poor. But what is infrastructure development policy? It's something about environment. They create the environment in a better way. Airports building, harbor building, or you can say road building, all this comes under infrastructure development policy. Then what is fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is a term which is much tested in your advanced level. For now, you need to remember fiscal policy is divided into government revenue and government expenditure. So this is what many people doesn't understand what is fiscal policy. So what is fiscal policy doing? They are generating the income from the people. They are giving back to the people. It can be generated in many ways. Even issuing a license is an income for the government. Raising taxes is an income to the government. What is the expenditure? They can give to people in consumption way to eat, or they can construct harbors, construct airports, construct roads to make the country better. So that's a part of political environment. So knowing what the government has said, what are the rules and regulations you need to know. Like if you are starting a business, you need to know where do you need to go and register your business, how do you run the business. These procedures should be carried out properly. So, but this procedures is not that relevant to political, because these procedures most of the time they have appointed certain government institutions to see what you're doing. That is what you say legal environment. So there's a difference between political and legal, because political is where the business is influenced by a different way. Okay, a business is influenced by a different way, and legal environment, the business is influenced in it also influenced by a different way, but here they consider the laws and regulations. But here you see most of the time they are considered about the government's expenditure and government's revenue, and they are seeing how much they can improve the economy, and you need to apply the rules and regulations. If they ask you to give the road what belongs to the people, then of course you should be able to give the road, because that is not your environment. Government can take from you anytime. So that's a part of political environment. So let's move on to the third topic. We have, what do we have on the third topic? Yes. We have legal environment. So let's move on to that. Legal environment consists of laws and regulation enforced in order to protect consumers, to protect the domestic manufacturers and business community, and protect the environment. So, what is legal environment? A legal environment consists of laws and regulation enforced in order to protect consumers, to protect domestic manufacturers and business community, and protect the environment. In addition, the government appoints institutions, boards, commission, and responsible authorities and individuals to enact these laws. The following are some examples for such laws and regulations. So you need to understand the difference between political and legal environment. Political is where the government can help you in different ways, or the government can stop you growing, because you might be a multinational company which is into a country, and you might harm the consumers by giving a bad product like cigarettes. So the government can impose heavy taxes by different indirectly, but differently or directly they are saying don't sell cigarette is part of legal environment. They can stop you doing it directly. So that's a part of legal environment. So what's legal environment? It's about setting rules and regulation you need to follow. A business should follow, consumer should follow, the environment should follow. So everyone should follow. Like if there's a pedestrian crossing, you need to cross. There's a rule, right? These rules and regulations, everything set by under the legal environment. Now, if you see, if you are going to start up a business, it's not a part of political environment when you start business. It's a part of legal environment. You need to understand that Companies Act number 7 of 2007. According to this, you should have been registered in order to start out the business. Like if it is a Consumer Affairs Authority, it is under the Act number 9 of 2003. Now you might say, what is the shop Consumers Affairs Authority? I had the same doubt when I was doing my O levels, ordinary level. When I went class, I didn't know what is Consumer Affairs Authority. I just by heart the terms. Like they might ask legal environments, two legal environments, regulations, standards. So I remember one of these and I plotted down on paper. But for your understanding, guys, don't by heart these words without knowing what is this. So Consumer Affairs Authority is a type of authority which is established in Sri Lanka to understand what is happening to consumers, if the consumers are being treated properly or not. The consumers are being given the correct right to purchase the product. Is discussed under Consumer Affairs Authority. So many people, what they do is they don't understand the terms, they just move on and start writing. So remember, Consumer Affairs Authority is an authority to protect the consumer's right in Sri Lanka. So this is where when the trader is cheating you, when he's lying you, when he's selling the product, it's a part of Consumer Affairs Authority to take the legal action on the trader who is the businessman. And Shop and Office Employees Act is also another act which is ensuring to protect the consumers' right under Act number 14 of 1954. The following are some designations and institutions appointed to enact these laws and regulations. So there are certain companies which they ensure these laws are properly regulated and properly is being followed. These companies see. So companies registration are being seen by Register of Companies, Consumer Affairs Authority, Labor Codes and Labor Tribunals. Labor Codes means if anything badly happens to an employee, most of the time under Shop and Office Employees Act, they might go and complain under Labor Codes and argue what they need from the business, because if they have done a bad thing to the employee, they can get back that. I mean, they can get a compensation from the employer for the bad thing which they have carried. Central Environment Authority is an authority which is protecting the environment. So business should not harm the environment. Central Environment Authority, which is CEA, will follow your company and see, are you harming the environment, or are you not harming the environment? If you take Ceylon coal stores, Sri Lanka's one of the main company which is producing ice creams like Elephant House, right? Have you heard about Elephant House? I hope so. So it's one of the Sri Lanka's best area which is producing Elephant House. So they are ensuring to reduce the level of pollution, and they are the company which has won a lot of awards in Sri Lanka in producing the products by reducing the pollution as much as possible. So that's one of the important thing you need to know when you are speaking about legal environment. Public health inspector will ensure that the public is being treated almost. So they what do they do? They are the people who ensure that the public is not affected. By seeing the food business most of the time, they will inspect, they will monitor is the companies are properly following the food procedures when they're producing certain foods. Most of the time, hotels and restaurants, they always need to be aware of public health inspector properly before when they produce some sort of products into the market. Due to this legal regulation and institution, businessmen have limits over their ability to conduct business according to their own will. Every businessman is expected to comply with these laws and regulations that are applicable imposed by the government. So when you are producing a product, you should always remember to follow the rules and regulations of the government. If you do not follow the rules and regulations of the government, you can be taken action or penalties will be imposed by the government anytime. So you need to be aware about these certain terms when you are doing this. Now, why this legal environment, political environment are very important to the business? When you are running the business, you need to know how can a government become a problem to you if you don't pay tax on time. If you don't listen to what government says, then of course you are in trouble. And again, if you don't following the stand, if you are a food company, you need to know who is public health inspector. If you are going to start a company, you need to register yourself under register of company. If you are going to treat your laborers badly, you need to see how are they going to go to labor courts or labor tribunals. If you treat your consumers badly, then of course are they going to consumers trust authorities. So knowing these things, like if you affect the environment, you will be charged by Central Environment Authority. So knowing this term is very important when you are doing a business. That's the reason knowing about external environment is something mandatory to all the businesses. So let's move on to the next content we have. We're going to speak now the next term, which is technological environment. I hope I explained you political and legal is correctly. So let's move on to technological and economic environment. So what is this technological environment? Then I'll explain you what is economic environment. So technological environment grows rapidly due to new innovations, business activities as well as lifestyle of individuals have changed due to the changes in technological environmental factors. Advancement in computer technology, advancement in communication technology due to internet, advancement in production methods due to nanotechnology and digital technology, and the advancement in transportation technology has significantly changed the business environment. So following are some example for the changes occurred in the business environment due to change in technology. I'll just give you a small idea, small example. Today the technology has changed to the level 25 years back or 20 years back. If you ask your generation of people, how did they use? They had a big phone, like a big landline phone. They used to speak with people. This landline phone is able to communicate between others, but the way they are going to carry is very hard. Portability was not that easy. Some people even they carry a big phone. Now you guys are keeping at home to speak that big phone. That big broadband phone also they used to carry with the bag wherever they go. So that was that hard. But after certain years of time, the technology changed. Steve Jobs introduced innovation to the market. The whole phone in one touch system. He opened this. He published iPhone to the world, and people were shocked. Man, seriously, when Nokia was launching in 96, when Nokia was taking all over the market, when people love buttons to use and people love flips to use when they're using a phone, all of a sudden a market comes. Here I am, man. This is technology. So you need to use an Apple phone to become one of the market best level brands. So why this beaten Apple became one of the famous brands? Because they understood what is the changes in technology. They went through some sort of research and development. They found out what others can't find, and they innovated something which you can touch. And once this touch system, the whole world was shocked the moment when you can just operate the phone in one button. So that was how the technology was raised. Today it has gone towards a different level and it has moved on to a different part. So technological environment is very important because when you are changing from button system to touch system, the business also should change in that way. So people used earlier, they used to record in logbooks when you're recording accounting double entry. Today there are a lot of systems like SAP, there are systems like MyOB, there are systems like SQL to record the systems very faster when it comes to accounting systems. Why they have made this type of systems to make yourself into technology, and they have ensured this by producing new system. If you don't change with the system, if you keep a old person to write the double entries, then of course your business is going to lose a lot of time on spending in easy tasks. So let's move on. The example they are given: the fabric manufacturers use simple manual weaving machines in the history, but today they are used modern machines, computer technology, etc. to manufacture quality fabric at low cost within a short period of time. Business now use telephones and emails instead of snail mail used in the past. So snail mail was also another way of communicating. Today they are using emails and phones. That's true. In early days, businessmen published the advertisement with their postal mail address. However, today they provide telephone numbers, email addresses, and invite customers to visit their website for more information. Not even today, not only in emails they used to do. They used to broadcast through WhatsApp. They used to have connection through Instagram. They used to have connection through Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. So there's a lot of application apps today to communicate with customers. Telegram is also one of the growing market today. So this type of new apps they find out to communicate with people, and they always ensure to technology. They also ensure to take the technology into their concern when they're producing some product. So according to the market change, according to the market speed, you also need to change. If you don't change, then of course you can be a huge loss. We used to wait from our relatives to send letters from abroad. Then letters we used to see in post and we used to read it. But today those letters are not sent. We send voice records from this country to another country. Things are so fast and the world has changed within 15 to 16 years of time. It has changed so rapidly, so vast. So today, computers and information systems are used to record account information instead of manual accounting books used in the past. Historical manual production processes are now automated using computerized machines. So they are saying that whatever manually you did, you don't want to do now manually. You can use a computer, and computer is more than enough to get your work done. So today, people believe technology than humans. That's how the world is going, and humans are being tested, but they are trusted for high skill work. People try to spend, they don't want the people to get the small work done. They want always them to think and get the work done. So this is today a tertiary market. A tertiary market is a knowledge market because we are going towards a different sector on our economy. So let's move on to the next environment, which is economic environment. Some goods and services become outdated rapidly due to changes in technology. That's we spoke now. Economic environment means it's the environment which you need to consider how an economy is getting affected. An economy is very important to a business because if the economy is not doing properly, if the economic environment is almost down, then of course the business are not going to be successful. So you need to know this economic environment very clearly to be successful. So what are these policies in economic environment? Let's see one by one. Interest rate. It is the interest rate given for bank deposit and charge for bank loans. Now, people doesn't know what are these terms and how they affect for economy. So let me explain you one by one. Interest rate is a amount of rate the bank gives you. So most of the time, economic environments main person who is worried about economy is Central Bank of Sri Lanka. They are the people who regulate this. You will study in advanced level. But for now, you remember interest rate is something which they use to affect the environment. How an interest rate can affect? This is a question I had the same thing when I did my O levels. Interest rate is something when they increase the interest rate, you know what happened? People considers that interest rate has increased. So if we go and invest the money in bank, we will get a lot of income, lot of interest on the interest rate increment. So people will take their money and they will go and put the money into the bank, and they will worry about the interest income that they are going to get. But the moment interest rate increases, on the other side there's a bad thing. The bad thing is the entrepreneurs, like people like us who are going to start up some businesses, they can't start up the business. The reason interest rate is up. If I take 1 lakh, I need to pay 10,000 in return. So I will not invest. So if I don't invest, I will not be people who will not get job opportunities. Because small companies give a lot of people job opportunities. So this job opportunities will not be given in future. So that's another problem when it comes to interest rate. And when it comes to inflation, so that's interest rate increment. Interest rate decrement, we can say, like if interest rate decrease, deposits will decrease because people will think there's no return of investment. So we'll take our investment and keep it with us. We will save that money. But people will also invest because they will interest rate is decreased, so they will go and take money from the bank and they will invest. So how can it become a problem to economy or good thing for the economy if the country wants to keep a lot of money with the people, with the consumers? That's better. They reduce the interest rate. They want people to get opportunities. They will reduce interest rate. They want to get people to not to do more businesses because more vehicles are coming, more imports are coming. So they want to take all the money from the people. They will increase the interest rate. So let's move on to the second term. Inflation is the continuous increase in the general price levels of goods and services. So what is inflation? Inflation is something where you have your parents would say, I purchased a coconut 10 years back, maybe for 6 rupees, but today the coconut is 60 rupees. The reason the price has gone up today is going around 120 to 100 rupees, but the price have gone from 6 rupees to 120 rupees. The general price level is always increasing day by day. So if the money prices value is going, money value is going down and the value of price is going up, then of course you need to be very bothered about it, because as a business, you need to know what is the amount of inflation in a country. If your inflation is very high, you should not invest in that company. In that country, you better invest outside the country because you get a return very high. But if your inflation is less, it's better, because we Sri Lanka also trying to keep our inflation in bit moderate level than any other country. So we are doing a great job when it comes to inflation. So we keep our general price level. Today you might see a bread is 60 rupees, coconut 100 rupees, but still something is okay. But certain countries like Zimbabwe, the inflation is very high. You need to spend, you need to take almost a bag of money to get something. So it's that much of inflation they have in their country. So income distribution is another term. It can affect the economic environment. It is how the national income of a country has been distributed among its people. So you need to know that rich people should be able to give their money towards poor people, which doesn't happen today in the market. We don't think that all the rich people gives their money to the poor. There are people who give, rich people are giving the money to the poor people, but you can't expect all the people to be the same. So this rich people should save enough income to give to the poor people. But if they don't give, government will charge some taxes, give back to you. But we don't think that it always happen in that way. Income distribution is about how much people should have in their hand, how much people should not have more than that. But today we can't expect the income distribution is happening properly, because people are rich. So government should understand. You should understand as a business who are rich and who are not rich. Because if you are going to sell a big car, a luxurious car, target the rich people. If you are going to sell a Maruti Suzuki, a normal car, which is going to target a middle income earners, then of course you need to know their income distribution. Level of employment is also another factor which is affecting an economy, because if many people are working in a country, you can hire people easily. If the employees are less in the market, then of course hiring them are very hard. Like if you are going to invest in China, you might see Apple phone is being produced in USA, but they are assembling it in China. The reason, the cost of pay for Chinese people are less, because there are billions of people who are working in China, so they are ready to work for a lower wage rate. But when it comes to USA, they will demand a high salary because they are much educated, and the same way Chinese people are educated, but certain people are ready to go below the line and work for the company because there's a population problem. But level of employment can decide how much salary you should give for an employee. Is the country has achieved full employment level or not? These things you need to know if you are going to start up a business, because that's the basic thing. If you go and invest in a country where you don't have enough educated people, then of course you are it's going to be very hard for you to run the business. So if everyone expecting a job receives a suitable job, a country will achieve a full employment level. It will also increase the level of, if everyone has a job again on the other side, you can easily go and sell your product because people have enough income to purchase your product. So that's are the things you need to know when it comes to economic environment. Let's move on to the environment. I hope I explained you almost everything. Yeah, there's few more things when it comes to economic environment. Let's move on to next term. International relations are the relationship existing between countries. These countries' relationship are built up through trade zones and trade agreements. So trade zones and trade agreements means you are able to sell your product to different countries. The way you have mutual understanding between countries will make you to sell and buy the things very easily. Much less taxes will be put when you are bringing that product into the country. So it's a good thing. But on the other side, you might go through a hard time, because if they are going to bring a used product in their country into our country, we say the term called dumping. For your syllabus, it's not tested, but they can bring a used product into your country and they can sell in your country. They are outdated product. It can be something like example. You take crocodile t-shirt. If USA has used crocodile t-shirt for 10 years, after 10 years of time, they can sell their stock. They will send to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka will purchase that and they will sell the people who are thinking, wow, brand crocodile, so they will go and purchase it. So don't this will affect the economy very widely, because you are not getting for the money what you pay. You are paying for a product which has been outdated for almost 10 years. You need to know when you purchase something, you need to know, is it outdated or updated. So you need to know international relationship will bring good things to your country, because you can hire people from other countries easily. But on the other side, you can also see harm because they can bring alcohol, liquor to your country or cigarettes to your country. So this will harm the consumers. So you need, as a business, you need to know all these things when you run a business. So then we move on to the next term. Foreign exchange rate, very important. When you sell to a different country, export, or when you buy from a different country, import, you need to know how much you spend in purchasing. Now, example, if you are running your own company here, but certain resources you are taking from outside the country, you need to know this outside resource what you're purchasing. Is it related to, is it cheap or it's higher than that rate? If the foreign exchange rate goes higher, you will pay a higher amount to outside country. Then of course your cost of production will increase. It's very hard to sell to the consumers inside the country. If you are going to say sell the product more than the foreign exchange rate what you were expecting, then of course you are going to nail it. You are going to have a good income when it comes to earning an income. So you need to know how much you're going to sell, how much you're going to purchase when you are doing foreign exchange rate. This will affect again economic environment very deeply. So let's move on to savings. It's the proportion of the income that individuals keep without spending on consumption. Higher the savings of a country, the higher will be the amount of funds available for investment. So what is saving? Saving is something which people save the income. The more people save, the more spending they won't make. The more people are spending, the more savings they can't make. So if a country is not saving a lot, it's good for you. It's very easy to sell a product for them. It's very easy to persuade. You know what's persuade? Persuade is like getting them to buy that easily. So you put some advertisement, they'll come and buy it, grab it. But if you are going for a saving country, most probably, I can't give you an example. You go to a savings country, then of course, selling is very hard. You need to go and hit the heads and brains and break out their nerves to purchase the product. That's not that easy, guys. So you need to see how much they are saving and how much they are purchasing when it comes to a country. Even inside our country, if you are selling in Colombo, it's very easy. Like the same food you are selling in one area, specific area that might be cheap. In one luxurious area, the same food you can sell for a bigger amount. But when you are going for a rural area, like something out of Colombo, then of course its selling is very hard because those people save as much as possible. So you need to be very careful for whom you are selling the product. As we are done with economic environment, let's move on to other environment. What do we have? We have global environment. So it is an environment which we are going to connect with different countries, and how are we going to be able to have some advantages, and how we are going to go through disadvantages. Now, I said in economic environment, international relationship. So that is this environment. This is an international relationship between certain countries where you can send the goods and you can get the goods into the country. So it's something like that. Globalization is a mutual relationship among countries in terms of economic, social, and culture. So you consider your economy, as I said, it's a part of economical environment. You consider your society, social, how much is going to bring benefit to your society, and culture, how much is going to change your culture. Now, the same culture which we have in our country and different between other countries are different because some Western countries are having the way they want dress is different and the way we dress is different. So that is making ourselves different between them. But it doesn't mean those are also humans. We are also humans. But when it comes to globalization, it says that certain times this culture can come to our country and that can destroy our culture. Certain times our culture can go to their country and it can destroy their culture too. So globalization facilitates in the conduct of business activities freely without any cross-border or any other restriction. Due to the advancement in information and communication technology, the entire world has now become a single global village. Goods and services, labor and capital, etc. are moved between countries by reducing the distance among the people in different countries. Therefore, changes in different factors in the global environment will have both positive and negative impacts on the business of the domestic business. So, domestic means it's a local business. Local business means it's a business which is inside the country. Many people doesn't understand that term also. So, I remind you, domestic means inside the country. So, what is the good thing you are doing when you are doing a global environment? You can do interrelationship transaction between different countries. But the three things you need to know is economy, so society, and the third one we say as culture. So if you know these three are the things which you are going to exchange, and this is going to be affected by this, then of course you need to know what are the positive attributes, what are the negative attributes. So let's move on to positive attributes. Possibility to obtain latest technology. You will be able to get the new technology when they launch. You can get the new one. So that's a good thing because people will be adapting this new technology. It will make our work faster. Possibility to obtain quality materials from abroad. Sometimes you can't produce certain products, so you will be able to bring that into your country. Possibility to obtain efficient machines. Sometimes you might be able to produce good machines in your country. When it comes to our country, We don't produce any vehicles in our country. Almost every vehicles which comes from other countries, other product which we use, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, whatever the cars you take today, all are from different countries. So we can't produce something efficiently. And we say inflow of foreign capital. So you can also gain, like your people can go to different countries, they can earn and they can send to our country. Most of the our earning are from Middle East, so most of our people go to abroad and they send income from those countries. So that also possible when it comes to global environment. Then possibility to find markets for domestic goods and services. When you have a good relationship between different countries, you take today Munchie Biscuit Company, Maliban Biscuit Company, they can sell our products towards different countries. If you go to UAE and all, you can see these same biscuits. You will understand the value of the product what you have here, but we do not know the value now. But actually, when this product goes towards that market, trust me, it has a good value on the market. So these are the good advantages of having a global environment. They can say positive impact, or they can say advantages, they can say benefits, anything in exams. You need to know these terms very carefully. Then we'll move on to negative impacts, or we can say disadvantages, or we can say adverse effect. You can say any terms they can use in exams from the global environment on domestic business. So what is going to happen to the business, domestic business? Creating a highly competitive environment. So here I say domestic business. If I say domestic business, inflow of foreign capital means you have invested your business, you have invested your money in certain countries, so that country can send you money. It's not only the employees you have sent, even you can hire your employees and send their outside, make consultancy and get some income. So anyways, you can sell the product and get income, you can invest and get income. All are inflow of foreign capital. So let's move on to the negative part. Creating a high competitive market. Certain multinational companies, big companies will come in our country, they will not go. I don't want to say this. There are many companies in our country who are earning billions of money, but I mean millions and billions of money, but they are not showing how much they are earning. Actually, they are taking those money towards different countries. So this is impacting our country very much. So domestic skilled workers migrating to foreign countries. If you are good qualified, please do not go outside because you are not working to your country. Then if you work for some other country, you are making other country rich and you are putting your country down. Sometimes you might feel that your country is not paying you more, but I always say you love your country. Whatever you do, do for your country as maximum as possible. One day it will survive and become one of the richest country on earth. Inability of the existence of domestic businesses, instability of the existence of domestic businesses. Sometimes if big companies come to your country, then of course competing with them is hard. So you will not be stable as you will go out of the market. You will run out of the place and you will say, no, I can't compete with them. They are big companies, so we can't just fight with them. So like if you take Kick Cola, recently launched, it's very hard to fight with Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola has made a trademark on our country. So fighting Kick Cola and Coca-Cola, still people will purchase Coca-Cola. So that's instability of Kick Cola. But if Kick Cola can give a good advertisement and the way they can come back, they're going through a hard time. The reason that they have advertisement Coca-Cola is doing is very huge because they have deep pockets to invest as more as possible. The negative changes on the local culture. What are the bad way of culture they can bring to the country? So we can't say what bad culture they can bring. Certain countries allow alcohol is okay. Certain countries allow beer is okay. Beer is okay for every house. Wine is okay for every house. But in our country, it's a very different culture. Many people doesn't like to drink wine. Many people doesn't like to drink, smoke. So this way of difference is always there when it comes to negative changes on the local culture. So I hope you guys understood global environment also. So let's move on to the last topic for today, which is SWOT analysis, which I already explained you. Now you need to know the importance of strength and importance of weakness, and you need to know what is opportunities and what is strengths. So that's what we are going to see. What are the opportunities and what are the strengths? So you need to know, as I said, owners, managers, and employees, whatever they are going to get, whatever they have experience, knowledge, the capability, the capital, all this comes under strength. And whatever you are going to do, the same strength if you write in not, or you say poor, or you are not managing it, something like not managing, not managing, not allocating. If you write not and say not, you will be able to find the weakness. Same thing, opportunities, you can write the same way. So let's move on to strength and we'll move on to weakness soon. Availability of adequate capital. Adequate means enough capital. You have enough capital to invest in business. It's a good thing. Experience of managers. Good experience will make the business become strong. Specialized knowledge and dedication of employees. You have good knowledge on what you are doing. So of course you will reduce the wastage. Specialized production methods. You are producing in a different way. That's also a good thing. Having a recognized brand name. You have a good name. That's also a good thing in order to survive on the market. What is the weakness when it comes to your internal? Now I'm speaking about internal environment because I said strength and weakness is the internal environment opportunity strength is an external environment. So what is weakness? Business knowledge of owners is not sufficient. Limited financial capability of owners. So business knowledge of owners is not sufficient. What they are doing, they do not know what are they actually doing. They are just doing for the sake of doing. Limited financial capability of owners. It's very hard to take bank loan. It's very hard to get loans from people. Means then of course you are going to be unsuccessful. Scarcity of trained workers. Scarcity means limited. So limited is the term they are meaning scarcity here. So scarcity of trained worker means limited of trained workers. It's very hard to find limited. It's very hard to find trained workers because all trained workers go for a high salary. It's very hard to pay high salary also sometimes. Knowledge about new technology not being updated. If employees doesn't know, if I recruit, I will always recruit a guy who is at 18 age to 25. The reason or 35 because they know what is happening on the technology. But if I hire a guy who is more than 50, he might not be updated. So getting an employee who is not updated going to be a threat to my survival. So I need to always ensure when I get some people, I need to know the technology is updated or not. Negative attitudes of workers. So bad behaviors also become a threat to your problem, threat to your business because good behaviors will bring good business. Bad behaviors when an employee is coming, I don't want to say certain supermarket I went. I don't want to say which place is that. Certain shop I went, then I saw that there were two employees who were fighting by, catching their hair, and they were fighting all of the time. There was a big scene, and I just wanted to buy a battery. Almost I waited 40 to 50 minutes, but I couldn't get the battery. But the whole day they were fighting because they had some negative attitudes. The woman threw a broomstick to the other employee. So the way they're representing is one of the bad terms. So you need to know the basic thing. Whatever problems you have, you should not show to the customers because customers value your business name. If you are not acting properly with customers, then of course customers will not come back to you. Then I thought from that day I will never go back to that exact place when I'm going to buy even a small thing. So you need to be very careful with the negative attitudes of workers. When you move on, geographical location of business is unfavorable. If your place is if you have a good name and you have your good name as a place, you have a luxurious name, you have a good brand mark, and you go and put in a place where there is a lot of crimes, people will not come and buy because it's a crime area. So you need to be very careful when you choose location to become successful. So these are your strength and weakness. So remember this. You don't want to buy hard this. If you remember owners, managers, employees, for them, if they ask what are the strength, think okay, good experience of a manager is a strength. Good experience of an employee is a strength. Good experience of an owner is a strength. So you can just plot it down. If you just think, you can write it down. So you don't want to buy hard these things. Learn these things. So let's move on to opportunities to be successful. A business also need to know what are the opportunities. So what is opportunities? You can write huge stuff down. Okay, so what is an opportunity? There are changes in lifestyle of consumer. If consumers changes is changing, we need to consider it as an opportunity. Now I can give you a good example of a businessman. There was a guy, a businessman who came to a city. There were two businessmen who came to a city. You can consider it as a story or motivation or an opportunity, whatever you consider. Two people came to sell, some sort of clothes. But when they saw, all the people were wearing cotton. Okay, so all the people were wearing cotton. Both of the traders were going to sell silk to the market, but now they found, okay, people are not going to buy cotton because one of the trader thought, if I sell cotton, will they buy my cotton? I mean, if I sell silk, will they buy my silk? Because all of them are wearing cotton, so I can't do the business. He went from that place. There was another trader who came to that place. He's also going to sell silk material. Now he's seeing all the people are wearing cotton. How can I sell the silk to them? Then he thought, okay, come on, everyone are wearing cotton, so no one is wearing silk. So if everyone can buy silk, then of course I'm going to be rich. So the way you see the business is an opportunity. So the way you are going to see now, the old trader thought no one is wearing silk, so they will not buy silk. But this person thought no one is wearing silk, so they will buy silk. You see the way you are seeing the business. So that's an opportunity itself. So you need to see the in a positive way to get an opportunity. So that it says so lifestyle of consumers. That's the example. Introduce low interest loan by the government. If government gives low interest loans, then of course we can take loan from the government and invest and get the increase the income of the business as much as possible. Providing tax incentives to business. For government gives some sort of free land areas. They say you do farming land cultivation here, you do business here, we'll support you. You need to do so something like that. Now, if you take doing a business in Jaffna, the companies are paying a lower tax when compared to Colombo. The reason Colombo, they are charging a high tax because it's a centralized area, even in Kandy. But when it comes to Jaffna, it's not a centralized area, but it's now developing. So they will ask if you can go and do a business there, we will reduce the level of tax what we are requesting from you. So designing new cities is also an opportunity. If they design new city, you can go and start your business easily there. It will also make an impact on your business. Construction, highways can make your business to move your items from one place to another. So this moving the resources, we say as mobility of resources. You can move the resources fast as possible. So these all is considered as a part of opportunity. So opportunity is not in your hand. Business is getting because of government. It can be because of economy, because of political, because of legal. It can be global. It can be any of this term, even technology. So you need to be very careful. But what are the threats you might move on? New competitors entering into the industry. So certain people coming from different countries and setting up a business become a threat to your business. It's very hard to survive on the market. Natural disasters, it's very hard when it comes to tsunami. You can't say, hey, tsunami coming, so let's go and have a bath on the tsunami. It's so fun to have a bath there. So it's not like that, guys. So natural disasters can impact your business a lot. Even you can lose your business, even you will lose yourself. So you need to be very careful when it comes to a country and go and invest. Do not go and invest in a country where there's a lot of natural disasters. You need to be very careful about that. Imposition of international trade embargo. So many people doesn't know what is this term embargo. Embargo means a restriction. It's about you can't bring certain products from different countries. They set a limit. They can set a limit. This much of products only you can bring, or they say you can't do business with this country. So if you are doing business with that country today, you take Sri Lanka cannot go to India. India people cannot come to our country because we are in pandemic. International trade embargo. They have restricted the level of products which is going and coming. So that's what we say embargo. Difficulty in adapting new technological methods. So it's very hard to bring new technology. It's very hard to learn about the new technology. You spend a lot to learn about the technology. It's also a threat for your survival. So you need to be very careful when you bring a new technology comes. If you do not understand the technology, you're out of the market because a competitor can learn and kick you out of the market anytime. Clever businessman continues to pay attention on the internal and external environment of a business. The business can exploit its strength and opportunities to achieve growth in the business and take necessary steps to minimize or avoid weakness and threats to ensure the business stability. So I hope you guys understood today the content. We spoke about few things. I remind you, we spoke about internal environment, owners, managers, employees, and I spoke about external environment, the customers, competitors, suppliers. Then I spoke about political environment, difference between political and legal environment. I spoke about legal environment. Then I explained you what is economic environment. I spoke about each and every economic policies, technological environment we shared. Then we had a concern about global environment. We spoke about the positive attributes and negative attributes. Then also we had a concern. We shared about the SWOT, how a business can be important, like SWOT, how it can affect the market, what are strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities, and what are a business should have. So we spoke about all these things. I hope you guys understood today's chapter number 2. So we'll be able to update next week, next Monday, chapter number 3 of your syllabus. See you guys on next class. Do not forget to subscribe our channel. If you want to learn more, please click the notification bell button. Get more updates. These classes are done because we wanted to give you as much as possible from our side. Due to pandemic, many students cannot pay fee for their classes. So this is freely done for their scope. Please pass this message to all of your friends whom you know because I want everyone to study it as free as possible. Do not spend money in commerce if you can study it freely. See you guys on next session and have a nice day. Bye.